All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson going into how mocking the poor is going to get a lot of people judged very badly, man, because due to people having or feeling as though they're rich in this world, the word bum gets thrown around a lot by people, right? And the word dusty, right? And there's all these different terms that are out there in the world to try and mock people that people perceive don't have as much riches as them. When if we analyze the world in reality anyway, we can see that the majority of people in this world are not born and they're not rich like that, man. Because it's a saying that the top 1% people have a large percentage of the world's wealth in general anyway, right? Yet you've got a lot of people with the nerve that have it out their mouth to try and mock people in this world and call them bums, man. And I'm just here to say that spirit is going to get a lot of people judgment. This is Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 5. Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished. All right, so there's a lot of people running around laughing at people for not having as much riches as they have, or for thinking that they've got something going on, right? But they don't understand that they're going to receive a judgment for that, man. All right? They're going to receive a judgment for that. Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 31. He that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker, but he that honoureth him have mercy on the poor. Right? So there's a lot of people that laugh at the poor, man, and oppress the poor. They'll put them in debt and put usury on it. They'll give them a loan and put usury on it to make that person be in even more debt, man. Right? This society tricks the majority of students and makes them take out a big loan at 18 years old or whatever. That could be like worth like anywhere between like 10 grand to 100 grand, man. Right? They make them take out these big loans at that age, but knowing that the career that the person's going into doesn't even make a annual salary of what that degree that they're collecting is. Right? But it's a trick. It's a trick, man. And that's all this world is a whole bunch of tricks, a whole bunch of deception to keep people in snares, man, because it's funny how they'll give people that amount of money to take out a degree. But if that same person wanted to take out that loan to try and start a business, they wouldn't give it to them, right? But this whole world is about keeping people poor, right? This whole world is a trick to keep people poor, right? And then mock them for being poor, but never really give them a proper way to get out of this state of being poor. When according to Israelite culture, there was ways to get out of being poor. You would work for a man for 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, and after that time was finished, that man would have enough wealth built up. He would be given wealth from you to help build himself up, man. Or if you worked, you'll be given wealth from the Israelite that you worked for. That's enough to start your own thing. But how this world works, you'll be staying doing a job for 50 years, and when you leave, they'll give you a congratulations card that they probably found on sale, saying thanks for your work, thanks for your hard work, or they give you some gift bag with some sweets and some candies and stuff like that, man. It's a joke. This world is a joke, man. It's disgusting, right? Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 17. Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth, right? And that's referring to us as Israelites, that if we see that another Israelite that we might have a problem with stumbles and falls, we shouldn't laugh and joke at him, man, right? And he goes in to say, why? Let me read it. Lest Yahweh see it, and it displease him, and he turneth away his wrath from him, right? So one Israelite might put a curse on another Israelite, right? And then Yahweh might fulfill that curse because that person was worthy to receive that curse at the time. But then the other man might hear about that curse falling upon that man that he didn't like in that time, right? Yahweh might remove that curse from him and put the curse on the Israelite that saw it and was laughing, man. Because if a curse goes on a person that you perceive as your enemy, right, and it works, it's almost like you have to be scared that it worked. It's almost like you should be fearful that it worked, man. because Yahweh can see and it displeases him, and he can take the judgment off him and just leave it at that, or he could take the judgment off and put it on you, or put it on us, or put it on me, or put it on whichever Israelite it was that did that, man. Yahweh might curse one man and give a man a plague that caused him to be sick, right? And then remove it off that man, and send the same curse that was put on that man back to the other man that sent the curse, man, so that they both get judged, because really they was both worthy to receive the judgment, because they should have been showing brotherly love towards each other rather than having an enemy among the own nation, and not making enemies of the heathen, man, which is our real enemy, right? Which is our real enemy at the highest level. Certain Israelites are enemies for the sake of the gospel, as the scriptures say. But in the end, every single Israelite is going to be chilling with each other anyway, man. Every single Israelite is gonna be knowing the Lord from the least to the greatest when it's all said and done. And we ain't gonna, when the kingdom comes, we ain't gonna have no enemy that's an Israelite, man. Whereas now we might have an enemy that's an Israelite, right? That's just the way. That's just the way that it is. But that don't mean that you're supposed to laugh if you see him fall, man. King David didn't laugh when Saul died; he cried. Let's get this. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 12. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day. Let me read it again. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. And that's a message sent out to the Edomites, man. Because when the Israelites got taken down by the Babylonians, the Edomites was actually there. You read about the Edomites actually being there, man. When you read the book of Maccabees. No, excuse me, when you read the book of Esdras. You read about the Edomites actually being there, helping burn down the temples, man. They was actually there helping. But we ain't supposed to be like that, right? But the Edomites are going to receive a harsh judgment anyway, because they was mocking. This is the whole book of Obadiah, a prophecy speaking about how the Edomites are going to fall, man, which we can see it now. All the things that they pushed on us, being drug addicts, being crackheads and all of that. Now, you can walk in any city centre, anywhere around the world, and you'll see an Edomite shermed out. You'll see an Edomite smoking or something, sniffing something, injecting something, inhaling something, right? You'll see one, man, all slumped off on the corner of this road, man, methed out, doing some stance, holding a position for half an hour like they're playing musical statues, right? You'll see Edomites doing that now. You'll see Israelites doing it too, but Esau is not too far behind. Esau will be in the background somewhere doing the same position, man. But the plan of that stuff was for them to bring it on us. But now that same stuff that they pushed out on us is going to end up on them, man. But the difference between them and us is that Yahweh is going to protect us at the end of it. He's going to correct us at the end of all this judgment, right? But like I said, man, a lot of people are going to get destroyed for mocking the poor, man. And the main person that's poor is the Israelites. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 26. I said I would scatter them into the corners. I'd make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Didn't Yahweh do that? Right? Everyone talks about how everyone likes to say, oh, it doesn't say no in the scriptures that the Israelites would lose their heritage and all that. Well, what does this mean then? That he said they make remembrance of them to cease from among men. What does that mean? What does that mean, man? And there was a time when no one was talking about Israelites, right? They was talking about some other stuff. They was talking about some wishing stuff, right? They was talking about some wish business. Something wish, you know? They was talking about that. They was talking about some wearing some small hat on their head. They was talking about all of that, man. They was talking about some other Messiah, some other Yahweh Shai. But Yahweh poured down his spirit from heaven, poured down the Holy Spirit from heaven, and made men realize exactly who they are again, man. The valley of dry bones ain't so dry no more. Verse 26, I said I would scatter them into the corners. I'd make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and Yahweh have not done all this. And that's why Yahweh is going to correct the Israelites, man, and make us get changed, man. Because otherwise, these heathen nations will be thinking that they was able to destroy God's chosen nation. And they're going to think that Yahweh didn't have more power to bring the nation up compared to their power to bring the nation down into destruction, man. And Yahweh's not going to allow that to happen. He's not going to allow for these people to think that they was able to destroy a nation that Yahweh said he was going to build up. Verse 28, for they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them, or that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. And these Edomites are not wise, and they didn't consider the latter end, man. And let me get a scripture on that. Right? These Edomites did not consider the latter end that was going to come from everything everything bad that's happened to the Israelites, but the latter end is coming. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 20. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 6. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou verily heavily laid thy yoke. And these Edomites ain't had no mercy on anyone from my nation, man. They stay jacking up our people, man. Our people be getting into boxing matches against each other, right? Then at the end of the boxing match, one Israelite can't walk anymore, can't talk no more, is in a vegetative state, can't speak, can't read or write, can't talk, you know? And then Esau's got paid from that. Our people be dancing, spinning around, doing moonwalks, hitting a doggy, wearing crazy clothes, sweating on stage, dancing from one side of the arena to the other side of the arena, women falling around in the crowd, you know, diving into the crowd, the artists diving into the crowd, then getting taken back onto the stage, and they're having to do all of that to earn their money. But behind the scenes, there's someone that owns that arena. But all the money that they made in order to keep that arena going came from Israelites dancing, shaking their tail feather. That's where the money came from. It didn't come from no people ain't sitting around to watch Esau be dancing and singing because they can't sing and they can't dance. And any person that you can try and find that you can say, oh, but what about this person? Or what about that person? That person's an Israelite that looks like a heathen. Because Esau's spirit ain't got no flavor up in there, man. I was wroth with my people, verse 6, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever. So thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. And what did it say in Deuteronomy 32? Or that they were wise to understand this, that they would consider the latter end, and they didn't consider the latter end, man. They didn't consider that Yahweh was going to send Yahweh Shai and change the Israelites back again. They forgot about all the other times, right, that the Israelites had came out of captivities that they was put in. They forgot about these things. They forgot about the great salvation the Israelites had when they was taken out of Egypt. They forgot about that. And they forgot that the Bible prophesies on a greater time, a greater salvation than even that salvation, man. And that salvation was great. But they forgot about that. Let's get some more. Let's get some more scriptures. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 7. Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. So if you understand that, if you're up, you shouldn't be looking at everybody else laughing and mocking, trying to act like you're the stuff, because you don't know how long it's going to be until you end up there. Paul makes a statement in the scriptures where he says, I know how to abound and I know how to abase, meaning that he knows how to live a good life at times, and he knows how to live a bad life at times, and how to live a rough life at times, meaning that there's going to be a time where there might be an Israelite that believes in the Lord and he's going to be in his overdraft all the time, man. Right? He's going to have to be spending money that he might not even have at the time. He's going to be in his overdraft. He's going to be having to check his bank balance to buy something that you shouldn't be having to check your bank balance for, right? But he's going to have to live like that for a time, right? He's going to have shame in his eye, and he's not going to have money for a time. But then there's going to come a time where he's got money in his pockets more than he had previously, right? And then there's going to come where he's got just about enough. And then he's going to go through those phases continually until the kingdom, at a time where there's not going to be no poor among the Israelites anymore in that time. But there's a lot of Israelites out there that they have money and they have wealth, but they're still miserable anyway, man. Right? And they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror. They're wearing sunglasses all the time, and they're taking all these drugs. They're having nightmares, remembering what they did, man. And they're wishing that it was only a nightmare about the things that they're thinking about, but they know that they've did those things for real. And in order to make that money feel worthwhile, they have to shit on everybody else and stunt on everybody else to make them feel like it was worth it to do that. It was worth it to get all that money, man. When they know deep down that they regret doing what they did. Jeremiah chapter 15 and verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? And no one cares about us, man. They don't care about us. They think it's funny in the position that we're in. They think that we're just in this position because we're black. That's what they think, right? They think that the Mexicans are gonna forever be mowing people's lawn and working in the back of restaurants, wrapping up burritos with guacamole in there. That's what they think, man. They think that Native Americans are just gonna forever be alcoholics that shoot bow and arrows and that go yeah and do all the chants. They think that. They think that, man. This is what these people think, but they don't understand that this is Yahweh's punishment on the people that He loves. They don't understand. They can't consider that because this world thinks that if you love somebody, that you just baby their whole life and make everything flow smoothly for them, man. That's what this world does. So that's why you got these dumb Edomites that they never punish their kid. They might never give their kid a smack or nothing like that when their kid deserves it, right? And then wonder why their kid ends up on some Jeffrey Dahmer stuff, man. Wonder why their kid ends up bogged out. Wonder why their kid be tearing off the wings of flies and shit. Doing experiments on rats in the basement. They wonder why their kids are like that. Which they're wicked anyway. No matter what their upbringing is, an Edomite's wicked anyway. And Idumean's a piece of garbage, trash anyway, man. That an Edomite is not... anyone that's an Edomite is not gonna do the right thing, man. That's the Bible saying that. Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 21. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. And who's that talking about? That's talking about Israelites, man. Israelites are drunk even when they ain't drinking, man. They're drunk even when they ain't drinking. 1 second. Yeah, Israelites are drunk even when they ain't drinking, man. Like, you got these people that go to church, right? And they'll look down on some thugs that are selling drugs in the community or whatever, in their community, right? But they're wicked too. The church person's wicked too, man. Because they know what's written in the Bible. They know the true things that are written in there. And they're lying, right? They're telling someone's nan, right? Or someone's granddad to give them tithes money and saying, oh, it don't matter if you're struggling more with money right now, because God will help you, right? Even instead of being like, you know what, don't give me no money. I just care that you get the words of the Bible, that you believe in the words of the Bible, man. I don't really care about no money right now. I'll go without so that you can have. When did they ever say that? They just have somebody on the organ with the organ on deck, right? They're throwing all these different events. They're trying to find the prettiest woman of the congregation to stand out on the street side to try and wearing a nice dress, smelling nice, to try and wave people into the church to bring more people in. That's what they do, man. Right? And the Jehovah's Witnesses do that too, man. They be trying to send the prettiest women that they've got in their church out on the street to stand out with the sign thing or whatever they got, right? Trying to lure people in that way, man. And then when that woman speaks, she don't know nothing about the Bible. And when the men speak, they don't know nothing about the Bible neither. This world's a joke, man. And all these people mocking the poor are gonna get judged, man. Because them mocking the poor they mock the poor as if the poor people don't have a view on the world. That's true. Verse 22. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury, thou shalt no more drink it again. So once Yahweh takes us in the chariots and bring us back down to the earth again, we ain't gonna eat of that cup of fury again, man. So all these people that say, oh, we're gonna go into what if we put Esau into slavery, if we do that, then that means that we're gonna go through it again anyway. No, they don't understand the concept of the new covenant. That's why they say these things. They don't understand that the new covenant is gonna be the ability to keep God's laws forever, and in doing that, receive everlasting life. These people don't understand that, man. Everyone likes to talk about John 3:16 all the time, which is a scripture that mentions everlasting life, but they don't understand how you get everlasting life. You get everlasting life through believing in the Messiah that died for our sins, and that Messiah is going to give the Israelites the ability to keep Yahweh's laws perfectly through the giving of a new body, a new heart, and a new spirit, and being physically changed and spiritually changed, man, and receiving a body that's spiritual, like unto how Yahweh Shai is spiritual, according to the working whereby he is able to do all things. Let me get some more. Let's see what, in fact, let me carry on reading this first. Verse 23, but I will put into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over, and has laid thy body as the ground and as the street to them that went over. So that's how this world's treated the Israelites, man. They've put us, our soul, they've said to our soul, you don't worry about having a soul. Get on the floor, bow down, so that we can get over. We need a nice life, so you better bow down so that we can have a nice life, man. That's what the world said to the Israelites. We like nice things, we like fast cars, we like fast TVs, we like fast internet access. Bow down, put your soul on the floor, right? And they've stepped on our head, stepped on our neck, stepped on our back, stepped on our ankles, crushed our Achilles tendon, stepped on our kneecaps, and crushed us as they've walked over to get their things that they want. And then now that they're driving around in Teslas that go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, now they got Lamborghinis, now they got train stations running and all of that. They're saying now, and now they got big time companies. Now they own all these oil companies. Now they got pipelines that travel from one country to another. Now they got satellite dishes in the space and all that. Right now they got all these things. They're saying we're equal now. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Now that they've got all these things, yeah, that they've got based on what they did to our ancestors, which is really us in the reincarnation, right? Now they're saying we're equal. Now everything should be equal now. Everyone gets the same shake now. But I'm not giving it back what I made after your back. So, but everything's equal now, and we're supposed to accept that, innit? That's what the world thinks, man. They think we're supposed to accept that. They actually think that we're supposed to accept that as a good deal, man. It's hilarious to me. We're supposed to just dance and moonwalk. Oh, you can get rich. Don't worry, you can get rich. You can dance, right? You can rap, right? Okay, rap then. Just rap. You can become a star if you rap. That's what the world thinks that we're supposed to do, man. That we're supposed to be happy for being a rapper. Oh, he's got some mean 16s, man. He's got a hot 16. Did you hear his bars, fam? Sirach chapter 13 and verse 21. A rich man beginning to fall is held up of his friends, but a poor man being down is thrust away by his friends. And people when they see videos like this, man, they're like, man, he ain't got no productions on this. This shit's dead. I ain't trying to hear what man saying he's a broke ass, bum ass, bitch ass. You know, that's how people talk, man. It's real disrespectful how people talk about each other, man. Right? How people talk about a person that's speaking the truth, but because he's poor, it ain't true when he says it. You know? A rich man can lie, and it's the truth. But a poor man can tell the truth, and it's a lie. Isn't that funny? Verse 22. When a rich man is fallen, he have many helpers. He speaketh things not to be spoken, and yet men justify him. So they'll say, oh, it's true, you know. What he's saying, yeah, that makes sense. Like if a rich man says 2 + 2 is 5, people will go, you know what? I never considered it that way, you know. You know what? it might be true, because how do we know what 2 is? 2 is what you feel it is in your heart. That's what people will say. They say 2 is what you think it is in your heart. Like, at the end of the day, who are you to tell me what 2 is? That's what people will say, man. Or terms like alternative facts, or your truth and my truth. Yeah, but that's your truth, but that's not my truth. As if the truth ain't the truth. Oh, my truth is that there's 25 genders. Oh, well, that's fine, but my truth is that there's 75 genders. I'm not with that ancient paleo stuff that they're talking about, of that old age 2 gender stuff. That's how this world is, man. Where everyone just thinks that they're so educated and sophisticated and know so much, but they don't even know the basic foundations of the earth. Your lineage is decided by your father. They don't understand that concept. That's too deep for these people, man. And what do the scriptures say? If I have told you of earthly things and ye believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? If people can't understand the concept that an Israelite is based on their fathers being an Israelite, simple as that, then how are they going to understand that UFOs are going to come to the earth and take men away in chariots? How are they going to believe that? That will sound like madness to them. But when they see it, it's not going to be so funny no more, is it? Verse 22, when a rich man is fallen, he hath many helpers. He speaketh things not to be spoken, and yet men justify him. The poor man slipped, and yet they rebuked him too. He spake wisely, and could have no place. So that's what I said earlier. If a rich man lies, it's the truth in this world. But if a poor man tells the truth, it's a lie. Isn't that amazing? Verse 23, when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he saith. They extol it to the clouds. But if a poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. Now, if any person that says that they're a Hebrew Israelite had £25 million in their bank and made £1 million every single month, right? If they made £1 million each month, people are going to want to show up and hear what you got to say, man, right? They'll probably even give you money to hear you speak, Then if we said, oh, we've got a course, a Hebrew course, sign up, follow me on Patreon, follow me on Patreon. I've got a Hebrew course to get you these breakdowns, brother, right? And if we started selling meat trees and all that, right, people would get down for that, man. They'd get down for that. Just like how they get down for all these people in the red pill community stuff, and it sounds like hating to these people, right? Because these people don't have an understanding of what is really going to come on this earth, man. Verse 24, riches are good unto him that have no sin, and poverty is evil in the mouth of the ungodly. So if you're rich, that it's good to be rich if you got no sin. That's clear. The scriptures just said it. It's good to be rich if you got no sin, man. But who doesn't have any sin? There's not a man on earth that doesn't have any sin. So the riches ain't no crazy benefit to these people, because all they're gonna use it to do is add more sins onto themselves, man. They're gonna add more sins of adultery onto themselves. They're gonna add more sins of covetousness onto themselves. They're gonna add more tale bearing onto themselves. They're gonna add more betraying onto themselves, man. They're gonna add more idolatry onto themselves. Now, there's many other scriptures that I've got, man, but I'm just gonna, you know what? Let me read this one. In fact, let's see what this says. Yeah, here we go. Sirach chapter 11 and verse 25. In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction, and in the day of affliction, there is no remembrance. There is no more remembrance of prosperity. So when all hell breaks loose, right? All these people that have got riches and they've been balling for the past 10 years, they're going to be looking stupid out here, man. Right? They're going to be looking so dumb. It's going to be hilarious if you get the chance to see their faces, man, of people that thought that they was balling. Right? I know around my particular area, right? That a lot of people became alcoholics, man, during during them lockdowns, man. People became alcoholics, man. They're walking down the streets drunk, man. But prior to that, these people were some clean-shaven Edomites and that, proud as hell. But during the during them lockdowns, man, them people became alcoholics, man. All these TikTokers and teeny boppers and all that. These people were bugged out on the internet, man. People was losing their plot because they realized that they weren't really nothing special, man. They realized that their whole life was a joke and a facade, man, and that all the things that they trusted in and put their faith in was of no value, really. That's what they realized in that time, man. Now let's go to this. Let's go to this, man. Verse 26. For it is an easy thing unto the Lord in a day of death to reward a man according to his ways. So it's not hard for Yahweh to humble a man instantaneously for the wicked life that he's lived, man. And a woman too. But we can't get out of the fact that women are also wicked, man. And according to the Bible, women are more wicked than men. According to the Bible, women are worse than men, man. Verse 27. The affliction of an hour maketh a man forget pleasure, and in his end his deeds shall be discovered. So a man struggling in his life for an hour can make him forget all the fun that he was having, man. Right? It can make a man forget that, man. And when all hell starts breaking loose in his world, all the people that was mocking the poor man's been dwelling in that poor state for a long time. So he's comfortable in that. What did Bane say to Batman, man? What did Bane say? He said, "You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, man." And the Israelites of the elect, we've been born, if we're of the elect, man, we've been born in the furnace of affliction, man. We've been born in that furnace of affliction. Our lives have been continually catching hell. We've been having health problems. We might just have, man, we might have some crazy illnesses, man. Get some crazy illnesses to where we damn near almost died, man. Right? We might just have bad knees when we used to be able to do crazy backflips and stuff. You might have been strong in your body, but now you're weak in your body. Whereas other people have been eating Doritos, eating Skittles, eating Maltesers, right? Doing 2 sit-ups, and they got an 8-pack. Dunking from the free throw line, getting $250,000 a month for scoring 14 goals a season. You know, they've been getting crazy, having some crazy lifestyles, man. Having some crazy lifestyles, some other Israelites. Making an app, and now they're a millionaire. But what's the app going to be worth when all hell breaks loose? It's not going to mean nothing, man. All this tech job, or what did they say, STEM? All that STEM stuff, STEM careers, that ain't going to mean that much when all hell breaks loose, man. They'd be rather have an apple or 2 in that time. They'd wish that they just had access to some water in that time. And like I said, man, the topic of this video is that mocking the poor can get you judged, man. Because there's a lot of people that have mocked the poor, not knowing that that man's poverty was something that Yahweh put on him to raise him in the furnace of affliction, man. To build him up for what he's got to come, which is to rule the earth along with his savior, Yahweh Shai. But they couldn't think that far ahead. They could think of a 10-year plan on earth, but they couldn't think of an infinite plan in the kingdom of heaven, man. They could think of a temporary inheritance for the life that you have where you live to 70 years old if you're lucky. But they couldn't think of a lifestyle that you have where you live forever. They couldn't think that far ahead. That seemed too far-fetched to them, man. And just to save on time, I'm going to end the lesson there, man. Mocking the poor can get you judged, man. Right? And it's going to get a lot of people judged because they didn't listen to the words of the Lord, because it was spoken by men that people perceived to just be broke. And even people that was poor themselves, right, didn't want to hear it because they didn't want to hear something by somebody that they thought was poor also. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kwadash. The one understood the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.